And this is the mighty Beretta 92fs.
I just have to get one of these. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to have a look at the Beretta 92fs as made by Umarex. This particular model was lent to me by a good friend of mine who said I could do a review of it. So being the dutiful friend, I thought yes, I would love to do that, mainly because I don't have it in my collection and obviously I really want to fire it. Umarex started making this in 1996 and it's been very popular with the Umarex range ever since. This is the nickel plated version with the black plastic handle grip inserts. There are many different variations of this, including wooden grips, black versions and also different coloured paint schemes. This is CO2 powered, full metal construction apart from the grips, and is an exact replica of the original. This looks and is beautifully made. When you pick up this pistol for the first time, you're immediately struck by how solid and weighty it feels. It's as if you can use it as a tool as opposed to a pistol, as in knocking nails in with it or smashing down a brick wall. Most of this gun is completely faithful to the original. However, when you wish to get access to the magazine well, you have to push down the slide release switch. This is also known as a slide stop. If you buy this pistol new, it's supplied with two 8-shot magazines. These are made of metal and are cheap to replace. The definite click you can hear illustrates how well made this is. This Umarex version is 177, however the real version fires 9mm up to 40 cal and holds up to 15 rounds. I'm going to first test this with some Gamma Magnum pellets. These are 7.34 grains. Loading the 8-shot magazine is a simple affair. Just ensure that you have the pellets in the correct orientation. In other words, start pushing in from the rear part of the magazine so that the pointy bit of the pellet or the end of the pellet goes in the tubular section ahead of you, ensuring that each pellet is well seated with a bit of gentle finger pressure. Therefore, the rear part of the pellet is running flush with the magazine. This is the front of the magazine and it should look like this, and this is the rear part of the magazine and it should look like this. A note to oneself, I should have checked the quality of the magazine before I pushed it in. This particular round is defective. To place the 8-shot magazine into the breech, basically you have to undo the slide release switch again. Before loading the magazine, ensure that the area is nice and clear inside, and make sure the pellets are facing forwards in the breech area. Close up the slide and you're almost ready to go. Before installing a CO2 cartridge, I would suggest you practice releasing the magazine because it tends to ping out. In other words, start learning a technique because you'll lose these 8-shot magazines very quickly and easily. After firing, I would suggest tilt the gun to one side and then place your hand behind it to catch the magazine. The pistol can be fired through single or double action. This is double action, or cock the hammer and you can go to single action. Whilst in single action, the trigger weight is significantly less. The trigger weight is so different compared to single and double action mode, I thought I should measure it. Whilst pulling the trigger in double action mode, it's all just over 5.1 pounds. As mentioned earlier, the single action mode, the trigger weight was significantly less and showed a reading of just over 2.1 pounds. To get access to the CO2 cartridge chamber, you have to press the little magazine release button on the side of the grip. This certainly doesn't release a magazine because there's no magazine to release, but it does release the grip side on the side of the pistol. This pops open the plastic grip and allows you to be able to get access. You might or might not have noticed a black looking lever at the bottom of the grip here that you can see me wiggling around. This is to ensure that the CO2 canister has a nice tight snug fit. Simply grab the CO2 cartridge and put it in top end first. Using the brass screw, tighten it up until there's a nice snug fit at the bottom of the cartridge. And make sure it literally is a snug fit, so it's not enough to pierce the cartridge but certainly enough to hold it securely. Then with the open lever at the bottom of the pistol grip, close it up. This now securely holds the whole thing in place and pierces the cartridge. There was no air noise whatsoever and certainly no leaking from this point onwards. Replace the plastic grip cover and then you're good to go. This just literally clips into place. I did notice that even with the CO2 cartridge in, you could still pull the trigger in either single or double action. But there was no air coming through, so the safety catch obviously just controls a valve as opposed to the trigger assembly. I certainly wasn't used to a safety catch just switching off the valve, however I had to experiment. Well, it obviously works quite well, I just got to get used to it. Now to measure the sound level. Next to the barrel there was 106.9 decibels. The sights are pretty much fixed apart from the aft sight that can be moved on a horizontal plane. The sights are very clear and easy to follow. and appear to be good at throwing light so you can see them clearly. I noticed that the barrel is rifled. This will help with accuracy. Unfortunately, you won't be able to fit a silencer to this particular model as there are no screw threads. I've had a look for a silencer kit, but I can't find one. However, you can buy this model that is on screen now, and this is known as the XX Extreme. Now to the overall dimensions. The total weight, including magazine that's loaded and the CO2 capsule, is 479 grams, so nearly half a kilo. This is a hefty pistol. From the top of the sights to the very bottom of the grip is 142.57 millimeters. Overall length is about 8.5 inches, or about 21-22 centimeters. At its most extreme widest point is 39.37 millimeters. Now for some outside testing. This is my son setting up a target. For this test, I'll be using Excite hammer pellets. These weigh 7.87 grains and perform well in windy conditions such as these today. I do realise these aren't the best pellets in the world, however they are predictable in windy conditions. Over the chronograph, the 92fs saw about 438 feet per second as a max out of 15 shots. This is about 3.35 foot-pounds. This target is set at 11 metres. After firing the first shot, I noticed that it had exhausted quite a bit of CO2, but this might have been down to the very cold conditions. My cold hands, with an extremely awesome physique, probably let the accuracy down in these cold, windy conditions. With those aforementioned factors in mind, I decided to give it another shot. The design and look of this pistol is absolutely timeless, and I can't help but admire it every time I get it out to fire it. Hopefully I can convince my wife that I should also own one too, or indeed acquire this pistol somehow by my friend who's actually lent it to me. I have no idea how this is going to work. First target that you can see is there. That's 9 meters. About there in the grass, there is the pellet catcher, and that's about 18 meters. And just beyond it, which brings it up to 20 meters, is the can stuck on the block there. I really don't hold up much chance of this, but let's give this a shot. So funny. So we go for the first one, see how we get on with that. Okay, let's see if we can get one in the grass. Oh gosh, amazed I hit that. Okay, let's see if I can hit the tin up in the air. Wow, I'm so ridiculously surprised about that. There it is there. Just make sure it's not a fluke. Well, we'll soon find out. Let's have another go at that one in the air. Oh no, I definitely hit it. No. Yes. So I can get the one on the ground. Yep. Wow. So for about 20 meters, it seems to be pretty accurate, and that's in wind. Now to my final thoughts and conclusion about this very awesome looking pistol by Umarex, the 92fs. This is brilliantly designed and well thought out. It's also very accurate with its rifle barrel. At nearly half a kilo in weight, this is what you call well made, and feels extremely solid in the hand, which adds to the realistic fun factor, and also the fact that it gives you dependency and certainly a level of reassurance at shooting over longer distances. This is certainly not a cheap CO2 pistol at £250 to £300. However, everything is made of metal and well machined. In fact, the only plastic element are the grip covers. Even pulling a hammer back in single action mode makes for a very enjoyable experience, as it feels precisely engineered and gives a certain definite click. The trigger weight, whether in double action or single action mode, feels just about right and very comfortable to use. Engraved on the barrel length are the trademarks and licenses from Beretta themselves. All of this excuses the price because you know you're buying a quality product. This is a fantastic item to collect, of course, however it's also a brilliant looking display piece. Firing it is even better. You must have this. If you have an idea of anything else you'd like me to cover, please put it in the comments below. I will respond to all of them. Thank you very much for everyone who supported my little channel. It really does help me keep spurred along and certainly motivated to keep bringing you different types of content. Please remember to always be strong, be kind and help others whenever you can. Until next time, see you again soon.